The Golden Touch, a magical tale of greed and gratitude for kids. Once upon a time, in the land of shimmering palaces and vast olive groves, there lived a king named Midas. Known far and wide for his wealth and power, King Midas had an insatiable desire for more. His treasure rooms were brimming with gold and jewels, yet he always craved more. For him, wealth was not just a symbol of prosperity, it was his greatest joy. One fine morning, as Midas strolled through his garden, he stumbled upon a satyr lying under the shade of a fig tree. The satyr appeared exhausted and parched. Seeing the pitiable state of the creature, Midas offered him water and food and ensured he was treated kindly. The satyr, grateful for the king's unexpected generosity, revealed himself to be a servant of Dionysus, the god of wine and revelry. Moved by the satyr's tale, Midas brought him back to Dionysus' grove, where the god himself greeted the king warmly. "Midas," Dionysus said with a radiant smile, "you have shown kindness to one of my own. For this, I shall grant you one wish. Whatever your heart desires, it shall be yours." Midas' eyes gleamed like the treasures he so adored. Without hesitation, he declared, "Grant me the power to turn everything I touch into gold." Dionysus' smile faded, replaced by a look of concern. "Midas, consider your wish carefully. The power you seek may bring you great sorrow." But Midas, blinded by his ambition, insisted. "Oh, great Dionysus, nothing would make me happier. Gold is the ultimate blessing, and with this power, I will have more than I could ever dream of." Reluctantly, Dionysus granted Midas his wish. "So be it," he said. "But remember, Midas, this gift is not without its challenges." The next morning, Midas awoke eager to test his newfound power. He reached out and touched the ornate bedpost beside him. Instantly, the wood transformed into solid gold. His heart raced with excitement. He dashed around his chambers, touching everything in sight: chairs, curtains, even the morning sunlight streaming through the windows seemed to glow brighter as it reflected off his golden surroundings. He rushed to his garden, his fingers brushing the petals of a rose bush. Each flower turned into a golden masterpiece. "The world will know me as the richest king in all of history," he exclaimed, marveling at his handiwork. But as the day wore on, Midas began to feel the pangs of hunger. He summoned a lavish feast, the aroma of roasted lamb, fresh bread, and ripe figs filling the air. With eager hands, he reached for a slice of bread. The moment it touched his fingers, it turned to gold. Alarmed, he tried a fig, but it, too, transformed into the metal he once adored. Panic began to creep into his heart. His daughter, Callia, saw him sitting at the table, his head in his hands. She ran to him, her soft voice full of concern. "Father, what's wrong?" Midas looked up, his face etched with despair. "Oh, Callia, I've made a terrible mistake. My wish, my greed, it has cursed me." Callia stepped closer, reaching out to comfort him. "Don't worry, father. We can fix it together." Her words were cut short as her hand met his. In an instant, her warm, loving embrace turned cold and lifeless. Before his eyes, his beloved daughter transformed into a golden statue. "No!" Midas cried, his voice echoing through the halls. He fell to his knees, cradling the golden figure of his daughter, tears streaming down his face. The weight of his greed crushed him. The treasures he once cherished now felt meaningless compared to the loss of his dearest Callia. Desperate to undo the curse, Midas fled to Dionysus' grove. He fell at the god's feet, his voice choked with sorrow. "Great Dionysus, I was blinded by my greed. I see now that gold cannot replace the love and warmth of those I hold dear. Please take this power from me. I beg you." Dionysus looked down at the broken king and saw the sincerity in his plea. "Midas," he said gently, "you have learned a hard lesson. Greed blinds the heart, but humility opens the soul. Go to the river Pactolus. Bathe in its waters, and you will be cleansed of your golden touch." Without a moment's hesitation, Midas raced to the river. He plunged his hands into the cool, rushing water, feeling its life-giving embrace. As he lifted his hands, he saw the golden shimmer fade from his fingers. He took a deep breath, relief flooding his heart. He returned to his palace and touched Callia's golden figure. Slowly, the color returned to her cheeks, her golden hair softening back to its chestnut brown. She blinked, looking up at her father in confusion. "Father? What happened?" Midas embraced her tightly, his heart brimming with gratitude. "Callia, my dear, I almost lost you, but you have reminded me of what truly matters." From that day forward, Midas changed. He gave away much of his wealth, using it to help the people of his kingdom. He spent his days cherishing the simple joys of life, his daughter's laughter, the beauty of a blooming rose, the warmth of the sun on his face. The golden touch was gone, but in its place, Midas discovered something far more precious: love, humility, and the realization that true wealth lies not in possessions, but in the connections we share with others.